use a hashtag Linkedist. So if you do this, you will enroll into a competition for a free consultation. And within a week, we will find the winners. So without further ado, let's start with the presentation. Why LinkedIn? Why in general we are talking about LinkedIn? There are a few reasons why LinkedIn can be beneficial for your startup. First of all, as if for today, we have 706 million users on the platform, and we actually have 500,000 users in Lithuania. And LinkedIn can help you with many things. First of all, it can help you with personal branding. It can help you with your company branding. It can help you to attract investors towards your startup. It can also help you to expand your professional network. As we all know that LinkedIn is the biggest B2B professional network online. It can, of course, help you speed up your company's growth. That's, again, why we're talking about the different growth tactics today. And, of course, it can help you to hire and find new people. So all of these benefits that LinkedIn can provide to you if you're using it in the right way. So the first growth strategy is personal branding. Now, what do I mean by that? All of the startups, when they start out, they try to create company pages on LinkedIn. But most of them who actually start out and create their own brands and develop their personal brands grow faster. That is just because of one simple reason, because people buy from people, right? A thing that we all are aware of. And that is why exactly we need to have a strong personal brand ourselves so we can later on advertise our company. And the general question is not whether you should have a personal brand anymore, but why you should take care of your personal brand. As you can see in the picture here, the first picture on top is a picture of a profile that's not optimized, that doesn't have any information. And the picture below is a profile that sells, right? It's a profile of a person who clearly defines what he's doing and what his company is doing, right? So if you want to really think about whether or not you should create a strong personal brand, I hope that this helps you to understand why. It's because of new opportunities. And of course, at the end of the day, it's because of your startup's growth. And in simple words, your personal brand is your reputation, meaning that whatever you have about yourself online, especially on LinkedIn, represents you, represents the way you are. It's your digital reputation. So, of course, you might as well want to make sure that that reputation is good. And then there was a research done by a company called Connected Circles. And I just wanted to share a few takeaways from this research. So why personal brand matters is because, again, like I said, your personal brand can sell much more than a company's page. So if you look, for instance, at the example in the middle, the one where we have Volkswagen and its chairman, you can see that as a company, Volkswagen, they have 861,000 followers. And their chairman, of course, still very big numbers as for a person, has 114,000 followers. Now, in this case, no matter that the company has 7 times or 8 times more followers, whatever the chairman posts and writes about gets 400 more percent of engagement. So this also shows that, again, a personal brand matters a lot. And especially whenever you are a co-founder or a CEO or any kind of other C-level position person, you should definitely use your LinkedIn as a wall to spread the message about what you're creating. As well, if you look at the third example from IKEA, again, the CEO has almost 300% more of an engagement than whatever the IKEA page is posting, even though IKEA LinkedIn page as a company page has more than 1.5 million followers. So that is, again, why I wanted to specify that your personal brand really, really matters. So the next question is, of course, usually, so, okay, I decided to have a strong personal brand. What should I do? How should I grow my brand? So, of course, the first step is to optimize your profile. So, really take a look at your profile and see if you understand what you're selling, what your company is offering just from your profile, right? Try to look at your profile from your potential customers' eyes. So, if you would be a potential customer and you would visit your own profile, would you then get the right idea? Would you actually understand what is it that you're selling or offering? The next step is, of course, once you have optimized your profile, is to expand your network. And by this, I mean, of course, try to expand your network towards the audiences that you want to attract again, towards the audiences which might be your potential clients. And of course, sometimes I get these people asking me why they're not getting enough engagement when they post something. And often it's the reason is because actually the content is valuable, it's great, but their network is not the right one. Maybe they're posting about marketing and their network consists of salespeople. So at the end of the day, try to really look at your network and see whether or not these people that you have in your network will enjoy reading the content, or you should actually put some more effort into it and expand. Then the third point is, of course, create content. And we will talk a little bit more about that in a few slides, but create valuable content consistently. I think the most important point here is consistently. I see people post once in a while, very randomly, trying to do one thing there. And it doesn't really work in the long run because, whatever is not consistent is not going to attract an audience that will come to your profile all the time, right? And of course, at the end, collaborate with other people. There are a lot of people who have already established their own brands on LinkedIn. And that's what you can do. You can, of course, piggyback and join together, join the forces together, maybe create some content together, maybe write a blog post, make a video, make a LinkedIn Live, whatever not. Just do something together and kind of take a share of their followers towards your own profile. And as you can see here in the slides, there are some screenshots of one of the people that I personally follow on LinkedIn, Stephen Bartlett. He has 132,000 followers, and he is constantly creating content. And I would assume, of course, he might have a big marketing team at this point helping him to continue posting, because he does create at least 4 to 5 posts a day. And that's not something that a single person can do unless you have a lot of time. But besides that, I think he started out as just creating a post a day or a post every 2 days or so, just to, consistently grow his audience. So you can take a look at his profile and it can be as an inspiration. And of course, here are a few other profiles that I follow and like. It's Mikhail Alexis, Neil Patel, Richard and Dave's profiles, and you can check them out. They're quite inspiring as well if you're looking for some inspiration. And a few fresh perspectives. So Sarah, Morgan, and Casey. By the way, if you really want to follow people on LinkedIn who create valuable content and are one of the best content creators on the platform, all you need to do is write on Google search Top Voices LinkedIn 2020 and go to the list. You'll find the different categories. You'll find people within finance, sales, technology, whatever not, and you can open those lists and actually see the top voted LinkedIn voices of this year and follow them, because obviously if they have been voted the best, they're doing quite good content. And at the end of the day, personal branding is a long-term game. Now I've been working with some people for more than a year, and we basically start really seeing first results while doing personal branding, maybe after 5 months, half a year or so, then you really start seeing, okay, some leads coming in, some other collaborations coming in, some offers. Of course, when you have your own startup, it's way easier to brand yourself faster. So with the good strategy, I believe you can do this in a month, 2 months, to really start branding yourself consistently in a specific space and attract new clients and grow. But at the end of the day, always remember it's not as easy as it sounds, and you really need to put a lot of effort into it. By the way, while we're at it, I just remembered, if you have any kind of questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. We will have a Q&A time in the end of the presentation where I will be able to answer any of your questions that you might have. So if you have some questions, write them down either now or later on, and we'll make sure to answer them. Now, the second point I wanted to cover is company branding. So when you're trying to grow on LinkedIn, of course, it's amazing to grow with your own profile, especially for companies which are maybe two people of a size. It's great to just start with your own profile. But if you are a little bit bigger, let's say maybe 2 people and up, it would already be great to also think about your company branding. And again, that's one more thing which can help you grow your company as well. And today I have not prepared any kind of paid ways of advertising your company, but I have prepared some things you can use for free, or of course, while using your time. So first of all, just some statistics to start with. Companies with complete information on LinkedIn company pages get 30% more weekly views. So even if, let's say, you're not gonna spend a lot of time on your company page on LinkedIn, it's still good to have it optimized. It's still really, really great to just have it there and make sure that all the information is there. Because even if some people find it, even if some people venture into your company page, they can still read about the company, click on the website and everything else. So even if you don't have the time, which is often the case in the startup life, at least have it optimized. That's a good starting point. So when it comes to LinkedIn company page strategy, there are some steps that you can follow as well. So first of all, you should optimize the company page, as we just talked about as well. The next thing, while you're optimizing, make sure to look at the top 3 community hashtags. Now, each company page on LinkedIn has top 3 community hashtags that you can associate with the page. This means that if you associate specific hashtags, your company page is going to be discovered more by those specific hashtags. So make sure to pick the right ones, and also change them every month to see if you get more views depending on one or the other hashtag. Another thing when it comes to LinkedIn company strategy is, of course, activation of your colleagues, employee branding. So if you start creating content on your company page, it's vital, and I repeat this, very vital, that your colleagues are engaging with the content, that they're sharing the content, that they are also maybe the ones who create content themselves, and then you can share on the company's page. So with the help of people, you can grow your company page 5 times faster. If you don't have the people activated, if, let's say, you're the only one who cares about this, and then you see the other colleagues, they're not really active on LinkedIn or not engaging, that might make your job of growing the company page way harder. So activating the company page, optimizing the company page, and then activating the colleagues, employees, is definitely a thing to do. And then, of course, creating interesting and valuable content and having a content strategy is really, really important. You want to make sure that your company page is not only a page where basically you talk about only your company, look at us, look at how we're doing, and that's about it. But it's also a page where people can actually come and read about the latest news from the industry. It's where they can, read about some statistics from the industry and so forth. So you want to make sure, because people want to, of course, follow the page that shares really good materials, and you want to make sure that it is much more than just about the company. And since we are talking right now about content strategy and creating content on the company's page as one of the ways to grow, I thought it would be great to also quickly talk about content and what types of content we have and what kind of strategies you can use. So, growing with the power of different content types. First of all, we have articles, of course, not for the company page. Now I'm just talking in general. So, we have articles that people can write, we have pictures, we have videos that we can upload. We also have audiograms, which is video type of content, but just only with the sound. So, more like a podcast style. We also have documents, which is one of the latest types of content on LinkedIn. We also have external links. Then one of the latest features that came to the platform is LinkedIn Live. It's been more than half a year, I think, for LinkedIn Live, but still not everyone gets this feature, because this feature is very much, added to specific people, and you can actually apply to get this feature. Now, the next feature that we have is LinkedIn polls, as you can see in the slide. And this is a very interesting feature as well, because you can do a lot of research with your LinkedIn posts. This means that whenever you have a question, whenever you're creating an MVP, you have an MVP for your startup, let's say, and you want to test it, you want to know if this is really a struggle for people, you want to know if people would buy this and things like that. That's what you can do, and that's what you can use LinkedIn polls. You can really create a question for your audience and see how people are voting. So it's not only good for just yourself doing research in general, but it's also good when you have an MVP and want to see if it's going to work or not. And then we have the latest feature, which is LinkedIn Stories. LinkedIn Stories came out quite recently, and still, as you can see, not everyone started using them. There are no really any algorithms set in place just yet. The views number is really, really low as of for now. But I've heard, or I've actually seen a live with the LinkedIn CEO, who mentioned that within some weeks, LinkedIn is actually going to update LinkedIn Stories, and you'll have many more features, and you'll have a feature to swipe up and other similar features as we have on Instagram and Facebook. So just be patient, and I encourage everyone to try it out, because again, it can help to spread the message. So at the end of the day, once you know about all these content types, what do you share on a company page? What do you share on your own personal profile? Well, you can share all of these things. So whether it's ebooks, white papers, blog posts, case studies, success stories, company culture photos, new hires, job postings, third-party industry news, how-to content, or theme posts, something that you're doing specifically at your company. So as you can see, there are so many things you can share, and there are so many different content types that you can use to share these things. And of course, when it comes to content strategies and creating content, there are these top 6 strategies that I usually suggest people using. So if you have decided to, let's say, create a stronger company page and start posting, or whether you decided to do that for your own private profile, I suggest using one of these, if not all of them, one of these strategies. Repurpose strategy is basically where you look back at the content that you already have and try to repurpose, try to define your repurposing funnel, right? So imagine that you have a piece of content, then try to always think how you can reuse it. Copycat strategy is basically where you're copying the technique. So you look at other people and you're trying to copy the technique, not the content itself. Strong visual strategy is basically where you're trying always to remember that all the visuals that you're using should be strongly branded. So whether it's the company page, whether it's your own profile, it should have the similar emotion, it should have the similar feeling, and so forth. Shout outs is basically where you're giving shout outs to other people, other companies through your posts. News source, again, just trying to become much more than just a company page, trying to share more of information on your profile. And finally, Quora, where you basically go on Quora, you check, especially if you don't have any big content ideas, you go on Quora, you type in a keyword, you see what kind of questions people have around the keyword, and you literally take those questions and you try to create a piece of content and answer with your piece of content to that question that a lot of people had. So these are some of the content strategies that I wanted to share. And this is how it can look like. So if we talk about, let's say, repurposing, right? So you have on your company page, let's say, a presentation, which you can then make into a document post, or you have an article which you can then make into quotes and different visuals. Copycat technique or copy technique is where you basically analyze someone's already created content. So like this, in this case, we've analyzed Stephen Bartlett content and see what he's doing right and trying to copy the technique. So as you can see, I've analyzed some of his posts and I can see he's doing some videos, he's doing some info, he's doing some timing and good relevancy posts, and he's doing some easy short content. So analyzing the technique, right? Then strong visuals. Again, as you can see here from the example, Gong company page, they're really branding through their visuals, right? They're really using strong branding. Their colors are everywhere, even on their employees' profile pictures, they have the same background and it really works well. Shoutouts, as I mentioned, it's a great way to grow because you are shouting out some other company and hopefully that other company can share and reshare your piece of content. In that way, bringing a lot of attention towards your profile. News source, again, you're trying to also post something more, whether it's your own articles, whether it's your own blog posts, but it's still informational rather than just, company pictures or product or service pictures. And finally, Quora strategy, like I mentioned. So for instance, here in the screenshot, you can see I've written LinkedIn marketing in Quora, and these were the results that I've gotten. So for instance, some of the questions are like, what do I need to know about LinkedIn marketing? What are the best online LinkedIn marketing courses? What is your LinkedIn marketing strategy? So as you can see, I could just take one of those questions and just use that and create a piece of content that's answering that question. Pretty easy, right? All right, so these were some of the content creation strategies and a little bit more about how you can actually brand your company, how you can activate your employees. Again, if you have any kind of questions, make sure to type them in the comments. I'll be answering them just in a bit. We actually have the last growth strategy left for today, which is called outreach strategy, or actually creating sales. I really wanted that the first part of the webinar would be very informational. So now I'm just sharing a lot of information, a lot of good tips. And then the second half of the webinar would be more of me just having a good talk with you guys and answering your questions and whatever kind of questions you have. So let's deep dive into the last strategy, which is cold outreach. So you can grow by having a strong profile. You can grow by creating a strong company profile. But you can also grow by actually reaching out to people on LinkedIn and making those connections, sending those messages, and trying to make a sale. So when we talk about cold outreach strategy, there is a simple strategy that you can follow. First of all, whenever you decide in your company to really give this a shot, there are these steps that you must follow. So first of all, you should, of course, optimize your LinkedIn profile. your own private LinkedIn profile. Make sure everything is shining in there. The second step is try to find new potential clients, is really trying to take the best usage of LinkedIn search, of advanced search, and all the filters that it has so you can find the right people. Now, the third point is adding people to your network, right? This is a very, very important step. And because of the fourth point, which is sending the right message, right? So you want to add the right people and you want to send the right message to them. And finally, once the people are in your network, you want to make sure that you are engaging with their content. If they're posting anything, you want to make sure you're liking it, you're writing some comments, you're popping up in their mind once in a while and warming them up. So whenever you will shoot that sales message or invite them for a cup of virtual coffee, they will already know you a little bit and feel more inclined to talk to you. And also, there will be a way bigger opportunity that they will say yes. So this is a simple cold outreach strategy, which you can use some points, bullet points, which you can mark once you are preparing to actually contact someone. Now, there are some reminders that I wanted to share with you when it comes to cold outreach messages, because for a matter of fact, maybe let's say out of 100 messages, I only accepted 10 which had the message in there, because a lot of them are actually trying to sell with the first message. And this shouldn't be the way, right? It feels like right now, all the people who are doing cold outreach on LinkedIn, they have no clue how to do it, or they're doing it in a way that makes you, well, not accept the person and not even read what they've written, because it just seems way too salesy, right? So what are the things I want you to think about when you're actually trying to reach out to other people? First of all, find common interests, right? If you're looking at someone's profile, try to see if there's something that connects you both, whether it's an organization, whether it's a school that you went to together, or whether it's a similar industry that you both work in, right? Try to find something that really connects you and kind of mention that in the message. Also, check to see if you have common connections, right? It's always much more nice when someone is writing to you and saying, hey, I see we have a lot of common connections and mutual connections. And I think it would be great to have you in my network, right? Or even if you can mention one person's name or another person's name who you have in common, who are you connected with, right? So that also gives a way better introduction. Do not expand too much, meaning that when you're writing a message on LinkedIn to someone, whether it's an email message, whether it's a connection request with a note, try to remember that this is not email communication. You should stick to the point or be short and do not expand too much. Do your research and personalize. Again, talking about the common interest, common connections, it's important to personalize your messages so people don't feel like they're receiving 1 out of 1,000 messages and it's completely not personal, right? I feel like at the end of the day, what people want to feel when they receive your note is they want to feel important. They want to feel like this is a message that only been sent to them, right? So if you have any kind of ways how to personalize a message and you can find those common interests, common connections, that's going to get you one step further, right? Indirect selling, of course, do not sell from the first message. So remember, only 1 out of 10 people actually accepts a message or a connection request where you're selling right away. So try to keep that in mind. Prepare templates. If you have some time and you really want to invest into finding new clients through LinkedIn, of course, my biggest suggestion would be to prepare templates, prepare for different scenarios. whether you're sending a message to a CEO, to a C-level person, or whether you're sending a message to someone who is, let's say, a middle manager. You can have different scenarios and see how people react. And of course, at the end, try to be unique, try to be different, try to stand out, whether it's a video message that you can send to someone or whether it's a voice message. Try to use these different functions and see how it works, see how people react, and maybe that will also get you your next sale and help you grow your company. And at the end of the day, it's not about how many messages you will send, but how many of them you will actually personalize. And I know for many people, it's not only I am who is saying these words, but for many people, actually quality of the discussion is much more important, much more vital than a cold request, right? So people want to have warm connections, people want to feel important. And that is why, again, it's important that you make sure that you maybe spend a little bit more time and invest more time into personalizing messages rather than sending a lot of different messages without any personalization whatsoever and not getting good results, right? Not getting a lot of feedback. So this was basically it for today. I want to just quickly summarize all the points so it makes sense in your head and you can apply these strategies right away. So first of all, you can grow your company by developing a strong personal brand, by also strengthening your company's brand, and doing cold outreach, right? Connecting with the people outside of your circle and trying to send them various messages. Now, if you look at each of these points, you can develop your personal brand by, first of all, optimizing your profile, creating content, expanding your network. So these are some of the ways how you can create and develop your brand. In short, how you can develop company's brand. You can develop it by, of course, optimizing company's profile. You can, develop and grow it by creating valuable content about your products or services. You can invite various connections that you have on LinkedIn to follow your company page, and you can activate all your employees, especially when you're a startup. There's not a lot of time, there's not a lot of budget, so at least you can do, you can activate your employees, your colleagues. And finally, when it comes to reaching potential clients, you can reach them and you can expand your company by doing so by using advanced search. You can, of course, connect with a personal message. That's also what's going to help you. And finally, you can engage with those potential clients' content. I know, as an interesting fact, actually, KPMG in Denmark, they are using 2 weeks of engagement period with a potential client's content. So before their sales managers actually invite a person to connect, if it's a high-profile person, they use 2 weeks up to the invitation to actually engage with that person's content. So that's, again, one of the reasons why people are willing to then accept the people's requests more, because they feel like they've seen their name somewhere and it feels just much more familiar. So these were the tips. By the way, I also invite you to join our Facebook group, LinkedIn Komunikacija ir Patarimai. This is a group sadly only in Lithuanian, but for those who are Lithuanian and are watching this webinar, I highly encourage you to join. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was valuable. I hope you learned something new that you can apply towards your own startup. And now I think we'll use the next 20 or so minutes to really just answer the questions that you might have. Thank you so much. All right. Yes. So let's see what kind of questions there were. Let me just quickly open the chat, see if there are any. All right. So there was a question by Beatrice. Thank you so much for the questions, by the way. How how important it is to add a picture to your post. That's a good question, actually. Well, it is quite important, but again, it depends on your network. So it depends on your audience. Whether you do have an audience that likes pictures and picture comments and content, or doesn't, that you should figure out yourself. Because I do see a lot of actually people who are active and only are making text posts, and their text posts are doing amazing. But then you really also need to be really, really good at writing, right? If you're not as good as you are with pictures, maybe you're not as good with writing, then I always suggest adding a picture to help your audience visualize the things you want them to understand. Or just attract attention, right? Draw attention towards your post. And then we have, and I hope, by the way, I answered your question. Then we also had another question from Beatrice as well. What are your must do's and don'ts for the summary, the one on a personal profile? So when it comes to the summary, I feel like you should always try to think about how are you introducing yourself to people who you don't know for the first time, right? What are the things that you're mentioning? And I feel like those should be the things you should actually have on your summary. And what is more, you should, of course, always make sure to add your contact information in there, and just write about your values, the things that you care about professionally. And the don'ts would probably be that I would not advise completely writing the same things as you have in your experience section about the positions that you might have again in your summary, because summary should be something about you, something telling a little bit more about how you are as a person rather than just plain experience information. I hope I answered your question. Now, I don't know if we have any more questions, or if I should just hang around here. Maybe, Paulus, you can let me know in the chat whether or not we're ending the live, or if someone is still typing in. All right. So I think that was it. Feel free to basically, like I mentioned before, connect with me on all the different social media platforms. If you'll have any kind of questions about LinkedIn marketing, company branding, reach out to us, reach out to me, and we'll make sure to help you out and answer all kinds of questions that you might have. Thank you so much for listening in, and have a good evening.